Prime Minister Boris Johnson acknowledged that his government was too slow to grasp the scale of COVID-19 crisis. While appearing at a public inquiry, Boris Johnson, however, remained evasive about whether any of his decisions had contributed to the country's high death toll in the pandemic. Here's a report getting you the highlights from that inquiry.
Testifying under oath at Britain's COVID-19 public inquiry, Boris Johnson accepted that government was too slow to grasp the scale of the COVID-19 crisis.
We may have made mistakes. I don't want to try to anticipate the discussion, which I'm sure we will get into, about the timings of MPIs, of lockdowns. Inevitably, we got some things wrong. I think we were doing our best at the time, given what we knew, given the information I had available to me at the time. I think we did our level best. Were there things that we should have done differently? Unquestionably, but I would struggle to itemize them all before you now in a hierarchy.
This comes days after former Health Secretary Matt Hancock told the panel that he tried to raise the alarm, but his efforts went in vain. While Johnson acknowledged the mistakes made by his government,
I think that it would certainly be fair to say of me, the entire Whitehall establishment, scientific community included, our advisors included, that we underestimated the scale and the pace of the challenge, and you can see that very clearly in those early days in March, from late February through to the sequence of NPIs, of lockdowns. You can see that we were all collectively underestimating how fast it had already spread in the UK. We underestimated. We put the peak too late. The first peak too late. We thought it would be in May, June. That was totally wrong. I don't blame the scientists for that at all. But that was the feeling, and it just turned out to be wrong.
The former UK Prime Minister was interrupted by a group of protesters as he tried to apologise.
Can I just say how glad I am to be at this inquiry, and how sorry I am for the pain and the loss and the suffering
sit down.
of
please stop.
COVID victims.
Please sit down. Please sit down, or I'm afraid you'll have to leave the hearing room. I'm sorry, if you don't sit down, I'm going to ask the ushers to get you to leave. Right, ushers, please, could you ask them to leave?
That I understand the feelings of these victims and their families, and I am deeply sorry for the pain and the loss and the suffering of those victims and their families.
Protesters also hit the streets of London against the former UK Prime Minister. Britain went on to have one of Europe's longest and strictest lockdowns, as well as one of the continent's highest COVID-19 death figures. Boris Johnson was forced from office last year over lockdown, breaching parties held in Downing Street during the pandemic, and now has another day in the witness box. Agency report for Republic TV.